So we looked for people, like-minded people. Our organization did a lot of work on values and core competencies. You know, our core values, they sort of guide us. So we decided to look for those people and look for people that embodied the things that were important to us. But I did make one mistake.
What's that?
I had developed the organization. My philosophy around my organization is I wanted to be able to bring myself into my company at any age and support the success of me at that point in my life. So that's how I look at my organization. And as you can imagine, I've gotten older as I'm doing it. But the initial idea around that, I was 34 years old. So at any time in my trajectory in life would have been, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. It really topped out at the professional aptitude of around 30. But we built an organization on that. We built a very youthful organization, a lot of people with a lot of energy and interest, and that one commodity in their life that they don't even know, which is drive and expectation for their futures, right? So I subconsciously employed the same approach in the reboot. And we made I made some errors because I was the gatekeeper and I hired some very young people. I hired 5 or 6 or 7 people with transferable skills. And when I say young, I should say people new to their business life, their business career. So in that particular case for me, it was chronologically youthful and 1 or 2 jobs experience and not a lot of experience. Well, if you imagine you're in the developmental phases of your career, the market's volatile and it's an employee market. You get the same sort of safe harbor in a storm approach to a career from a person who's new in their career as you might with someone who was displaced at 40 years old. Does that make sense? So I thought there was safety in hiring some young people that we could train. We had great success. I had people that were here for 10, 15, 18 years. I had legacy employees. So what happened is within 5 or 6 or 7 months, when everybody started rehiring, those same people were still looking for their best job. So we had a 50% turnover rate with the first 10 hires. And if you can imagine, as demand ramped up, that was quasi-catastrophic because you can take the time frame those people were here. Although I don't really worship the dollar, you could put a price on what it costs, and there was zero return from the effort. So huge shift. I want to say somewhere around August of 2021, I decided we're going to change the way we do it. We're going to look for the right people. And the right people share our values, but not the idea of our values. They've actually experienced challenges within their professional career that had them come back on, wow, I want to work with people that are authentic. I want to work with people who have integrity. I want people who have a work ethic. I want people who are dependable. And in our case, the last value is I want people who are creative. But they need the wisdom to know that they didn't get it elsewhere, right?
Is that a kind way, Michael, of saying I was looking for slightly older people that had some of the professional maturity because they've been out in the workforce for a while?
Well, I will say, no, well, I guess if we're going to do what the world does and sort of, categorize, which I don't want to do because I have rule breakers. I have a young man who came right out of college as a referral, and he embodies everything in our values and our core competencies. And he also has the humility to say, I have a lot to learn. And he's killing it. He's killing it. But if I would answer honestly, yes, the parameter was, we're looking for people that have been at a company long enough to have slayed some dragons or overcome no or objection or wait or any of those things that we've all experienced in a company. And if they did it 2 times, I could actually ask them, wow, you've been here 3 or 4, you were there 3 or 4 years. Geez, you must have overcome a lot of stuff. And then the stories come out. And then if you're talking to 5 or 6 people and you get to that point because they're those type of people, someone stands out. And then what it is for the organization is, if you're going to bring people outside the industry in with transferable skills, what we learned afterwards is, oh my gosh, we don't have the time for them to just say, I love working here. I love the culture. I love the work. I'll probably be good at this in 3 years. You know what I mean? Or I couldn't have my own people say, it's going to take you 5 years to get this. There is no employee out there that thinks they're going to wait 5 years for anything, right? And I don't blame them for thinking that. And then if we look at the statistics that are out there now, the modern employee expects to be at their current place of work for, some studies say, 2 to 5 years. Other studies say 2 to 3 years. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, because the right person, if everything works out, they're going to be the person who's with you for 5, 6, 7 years. So it's a fascinating time, and we've made all the mistakes. And I'm happy, if you want a space, I can tell you some of the distinctions we've made and the changes we've made in the process of bringing those people along.